Hello everybody. I saw this video in my recommendations a while back and I thought I would react to it. Now, I've moved everything into my bedroom and there's one reason why. They are painting my cabinets and the paint smells like rancid fish oil and they brought in an They brought in an air purifier, which did help. It helped after only like 2 hours. It significantly brought the smell down. But I'm thinking about keeping this layout so that you never have to hear my fridge again, and so that I can do these reaction videos a lot easier. Yeah, I'm sucking on a couple of really tiny little breath mints. So if you can hear me sucking on them, you know why. And my mom says they're actually very good ingredients in these. She looked at them, so they don't throw me off. They don't spark any kind of cravings. Sometimes they're so small I can put 2 in my mouth at once. They're that tiny. They're kind of similar to Tic Tacs, but they're like a little bit bigger. I think there's like Tic Tac shaped like breath mints as well. These ones are a tiny bit bigger than those, but they're really nice. And yeah. Now, this isn't to say I will recommend them to just anyone. I don't eat certain things because I think people should. I don't eat things because, look, I only think people should be eating mostly plants, if not, or blah, 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 mostly meat, if not, goodness. No, I'm not going vegan. What I think people should be eating is a mostly meat-based diet. If not a complete meat-based diet. I will never recommend a mostly plant diet. And if I ever say mostly plants, it's because my brain kind of goes ahead of itself. So, there's that. Oh, my mom looked at my air conditioner before we get started. My mom looked at my air conditioner. There was some dust kind of around the outside. And understandable given where it was, because it was like under the sink and dark and there's probably a little moisture in there. But she didn't see anything in the air conditioner. So I think what's going on is my blood flow is changing throughout my body. And so now, whenever the air conditioner goes, I can actually feel when my vessels start to constrict. I've never had that before to that extent. And she thinks I would smell mold, and honestly, I feel like the maintenance guy, when installing it, he would notice mold in the thing. These ones are actually apparently quite good at removing stuff. So, but I did buy a humidifier. So we think that the humidifier in combination with the air conditioner will help to alleviate the symptoms that I tend to have. I'm going to tell you a bit about my humidifier in another video, something crazy that happened. Maybe you might have had experience with these. Maybe if you have the same brand I do, I'll talk about it in a different video. This video popped up in my feed, and I want to share this with you. I want to react to it. Let's just get into the reaction now, okay? Here we go.
And how to do DI.
Now it starts out, she was already talking when she started streaming this. What the heck? What happened there? Why were you already talking before the YouTube was going? Were you streaming on another platform too? Because you were in the middle of a sentence when you started streaming on here. So.
Why and how to buy real estate. Now, let's get on to it. Today I want to talk about heart palpitations because a lot of you are experiencing this horrible sensation.
I experience it. It's a hormonal thing. I'm noticing that now. And you know what? Liver has decreased to the intensity. Liver consumption has increased my heart's ability to pump harder. And like my pulse was weak. Not weak like in a really bad way, but it was kind of weak. Once I started incorporating more beef liver into my life, dude, the strength of my pulse has increased so much. And I will never stop eating liver frequently anymore. So you can shut up, Bart, just so you know. Just so you know. Because I never even got any full answers from you. And not even a basic answer of... you never really linked me to anything. You never... whatever. So... because I get crickets on my end every time. You know, when you do that on your videos when you're critiquing, say, Milton Mills or whoever. I ain't gonna believe you no more. Okay? So you can suck butt.
On low-carb diets, ketogenic, carnivore diets, and people really don't decipher and discern.
Here's the thing. Heart palpitations, I think I actually had AFib. Because I think AFib is more when your heart skips. She says that heart palpitations are when you skip. I could be mixing the two terms. I don't know if they're interchangeable or not. But I feel like AFib is actually skipping beats, whereas I don't know if the palpitations necessarily mean you have AFib or not. Maybe I didn't. But I used to have skips all the time. And AFib, I think we have it in our family because my dad says he has that too. I knew it was a nutritional issue. Apparently, I have... I still get them if I'm under a lot of stress or when I'm PMSing. I tend to get them like that. So, yeah. I don't have that nearly as much now, though. It's for the most part gone. And when I do experience it now, it's very, very light. And sometimes during PMS, I don't have them at all. It really depends on the kind of week I had, I guess, or how much nutrition I'm taking in. If I'm listening to my hunger cues. I have to listen to my hunger cues very, very well because I find that I if I don't, then I can't maintain my my weight. By the way, I'm a little bit... I've actually kept weight on lately. I haven't noticed actually too much of a drop. I'm quite happy about that. Yeah. But let's see what she has to say about heart palpitations because I don't have that issue nearly as much. And I don't have as much issues with like electrolyte problems either, like Bart says liver causes. So
Between the different types of heart palpitations, and I thought it would be good to know because I had a consultation this morning where the woman was not sure if her heart palpitations were coming from histamine or from low potassium. Now, how and why do people with low carb diets specifically develop these heart palpitations? And what it feels like is terrible. Your heart skipping a beat, or it's a rapid heartbeat, or it feels like your heart is beating out of your chest. And then on top of that, you might feel a sensation of nausea, or you can't get enough air in as you are, like a shortness of breath while you speak. Okay, number one, when you do carnivore diets, you lose a lot of minerals because you're losing a lot of water. Kidneys are dumping
in the beginning, sure. But go on.
water. Minerals go out the door, specifically potassium. You're not drinking enough water and minding minding your electrolytes.
I think you drink too much water, honey. I don't know what deuterium does to you, but I have heard that it actually causes some issues with your stamina and your strength. I have days, again, it's usually when I'm PMSing, I cannot quench my thirst. But you know what? Half the time, I don't even have to drink half a bottle. And I get all the water I need that day, on a typical day. I'll have a cup or 2 or maybe 3 of liquid a day. And that's it. That is it. And you know how much they always recommend people drink. 6 to 8. Now for me, maybe even 3 might be too much. I can go for a very long time now without drinking. Now I do drink a lot more now given it's summer. You know, it's still the heat of summer. It's finally starting to cool down a little bit. The temperature is supposed to be about 25 degrees Celsius today. It's been in the 30s lately, and normal body temperature, by the way, is 36 Celsius, 36.7, 36.8, around there Celsius, for those who are used to Fahrenheit. So, and then we're talking 33 degrees Celsius. We've had temperatures soar up to 31, and that's without the Humidex. Humidex can make it feel like 36, 37. It was unbearable, and you become like, you don't even want to drink. You don't want to eat. You don't, like, ugh. And I've been a victim of this. But I did drink and I ate what I could, and really it's just been a learning curve, a learning experience for me, trying to figure out, okay, how do I navigate this? I make sure now never, ever, ever to skip out on my salt intake and my liver intake. Now there might be a couple days where I probably do, but for the most part I do try to consume it every day, at least a little bit. I don't go crazy like eating a pound a day or something like that. I don't think you need to do that. I think all you need to do is eat probably 4 to 6 small little pieces a day. If it's cooked, 4 to 6 small pieces a day. You know, they're probably about the size of, you know, how big sometimes people cut the steak, like about, they're like little cubes, right? My liver isn't exactly in cubes, but little chunks, right? 4 to 6 of those a day. Maybe 8 if you really want to bump it up a bit, but yeah. But yeah, I don't even have electrolyte problems as much now. So, but go on.
And boom, you start to feel this rapid heartbeat. You feel it when you lay down, when you sit up.
This is only in the beginning, honey. This isn't for the rest of your life. Dude, I had this. All you gotta do is take some salt and lick it. If it still doesn't help, maybe a little bump with some sugar can help. What I did when I was really struggling and I just could not get the feeling to pass, I had a little tiny spoonful of peanut butter. When I was first transitioning, and that helped. That was only in the very beginning, and my goodness, after 5 days, 4 to 5 days, completely normal. Everything was rebalanced. Yes, I still had some twitches here and there. Yes, I think I still had some cramping here and there, but the worst of it was over, and I didn't feel that sick anymore. And I think my heart did still race occasionally, but I really didn't feel that bad after that point. So,
They can actually come at any part of the day, especially if you're at the gym and you haven't been drinking enough water on a hot day.
you need electrolytes too in your water. Um, you have not addressed that. Are you going to?
And you're trying to exercise, all of a sudden it might be difficult to work out. You might feel a sense of nausea, and then the heart starts beating real hard. This isn't good. I mean, these type of palpitations are called benign heart palps, which means
You did not address the fact that you need to put electrolytes into your water. Then you will hold on to the water better, and you won't have that feeling so much. You'll be more likely able to mitigate those feelings of the heart palpitations. You didn't address it. A lot of carnivore or keto people do that too, by the way. But you never mentioned that once. And carnivores stress it even more so, especially the beginners. But then they get sucked into these Paul Saladino people and fruitarian-ish people and things like that. Oh, eat 300 grams of carbs of fruit and honey a day. I think if there's anything you and I both agree on, Stephanie, no fruit and no honey. Stop with the papayas and mangoes and pounds of you know, or gallons of honey a day. Like, just
in the short term they're not dangerous, but if you do not address these heart palpitations over time, it can be dangerous to the heart because it can enlarge the heart. We don't want that. You have to take care of your electrolytes. Now, I can hear when people are gasping for air. It's a very slight sort of a gasp. I can hear this with people, with clients that are low in potassium or low in drinking water. You have to remember, if you are taking in too much salt on a carnivore diet, because you're like, I love to salt my food, it can drop your potassium. And then you can have these symptoms like heart.
You're mixing salt with sodium. You're mixing the two words up here. I think you mean too much sodium. Because people on carnivore diets, some of them still use that refined, disgusting sodium. Which, by the way, doesn't help. It tastes horrible. Now that I know the difference between regular salt and like the refined salt and the actual salt, now that I know the difference, I never want to eat refined salt again. Do you know how crappy that stuff is in comparison? It's weak, but then overly strong at the same time. There's something about it, and it stings your tongue, but it's very, very weak in variety of flavor. Like, I don't know, there's a flavor. Something is missing from the flavor of the salt. There's something there that's missing. It's missing. I don't know, but I can't put my finger on it. Regular, like, actual salt is like stronger and just it packs a punch of different taste. You just taste everything more. Refined table salt is not No. It's weak. Very, very weak, in my opinion. The taste of it's horrible.
Eating, you work out, you can't, you feel a little nauseous, like I said. You might have shortness of breath. These things typically happen when you are chronically dehydrated.
What is wrong with you? Why do you sound so low key? Are you losing subs? Is losing subs bringing you down? Dude, I could drop down to 0 and I'd still do this. I'd still do this. I don't care. I don't care. I don't worry about that. I don't worry about that. Now, where am I here? How far am I into? Oh my god, only 2 minutes. Ugh.
And it is so easy to become dehydrated on a ketogenic and a carnivore diet.
In the beginning, moron. You should know, because you are keto. Or at least I thought you were.
Histamine is another one. Histamine is another massive reason why people develop heart palpitations on a carnivore diet, because people tend to eat the same food all the time. Now,
What? We ate the same food all the time hundreds of thousands of years ago. What we never did, though, was ferment foods. We never fermented things. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, we didn't. No. We only started doing that about 8,000 years ago. Not saying that you shouldn't ferment foods, but that's what causes histamine issues. If you have a histamine issue, don't eat fermented foods. Now, I've never heard of heart palpitations with histamine, quote unquote histamine issues, because I don't think it exists. What I think actual histamine issues are gut problems, rashes, probably some fatigue, maybe some sensitivities to certain other things in your environment that you wouldn't normally have. I don't know, but heart palpitations? I could be wrong. I mean, but I never heard of heart palpitations from histamine issues. I don't know. I don't even... We shouldn't even be having histamine issues. I think that if you're going to eat fermented foods on carnivore, you should probably limit them a little more. I haven't had yogurt, even cheese, for like a week. The only fermented thing I have now is kombucha. And I feel like I'm actually a lot better off just taking those other things out. I think they do sometimes cause a problem. Anything that's like fermented and maybe even cured stuff a little bit. I don't know, but yeah. But anyway.
now, people may have they've eaten butter before, here or there, didn't notice any histamine reactions until they start pounding down the butter to try to hit that 200 grams of fat, and they start feeling.
No. Butter often has cream in it. Butter also sometimes has coconut, or like, if you're lucky, it might just have coconut oil in it. Sometimes it has canola oil in it. I don't even know if butter does ever have coconut oil, but I know that sometimes they'll add canola oil to it. It could be unsalted, throwing your electrolytes off. Yeah. It has cream, right? Butter has the cream sugar. The cream. It's the cream. Hello. Make ghee. Make ghee out of it. Then try it.
heart, but they think it's the histamine when really, rather, they think it's dehydration when really it could be a histamine response.
Butter is not fermented dairy. Unless you're talking cultured butter. It's not. By the way, cultured butter is disgusting. I don't ever want to buy that again.
Histamine can be bloated and itchy and tired and a rash or irritable or swollen, mucus buildup and post-nasal drip, allergy symptoms, right? Bloated and gurgly stomach.
Okay, so she did touch on that. I never heard of heart palpitations though.
Or histamine can manifest in heart beating. So we have to know the difference, because a lot of you start eating foods you don't typically eat all the time in your everyday life. And when you do a carnivore diet and you're eating the same food all the time, like egg.
There's no problem with eating the same foods all the time on carnivore. There are people doing lion diet and have been doing it for years. Ferigno Freedom, Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson. I'm probably going to get flagged just for saying Jordan and Michaela Peterson. Whatever, I said their names, okay.
Whites are very high histamine. People are doing cheeses and butter and...
I don't see the issue with butter. I do see the issue with cheese, because it is fermented dairy. Fermentation is what typically causes the histamine to, because that's what I've heard. Egg whites, yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I don't know. They're still drinking the coffee. They're still...
I don't know. There's still, man, you sound like, the female version of Milton Mills. Good Lord, woman.
Toxins. They are just eating a lot of foods they normally don't eat. For example, eating a lot of beef, and they're not checking the quality of the beef, where it's coming.
Honey, you need to go do some kind of cognitive testing, because you can't speak. Yes, I slip up myself, but you just keep going, I can't vote for any politician, by the way, who just talks like, if you're wanting to run for prime minister or president or whatever, and all you say is every 5 seconds, I don't have any confidence in you. Not sorry.
From, or if it's wet hung or dry hung, and if bacteria has begun to grow on this beef, and all of a sudden you develop the heart palpitation.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. A lot of the time I get the beef ground right, like they grind it right in front of you. Now, I don't know what they do with it. It doesn't smell weird. It doesn't have any kind of... I think this meat that I eat now is way better than the meat I was eating, maybe a year ago? Yeah, this new place is great.
Now let's continue. So leaky gut can come from a plethora of reasons. One of them is taking pharmaceuticals, okay, meds, illegal or legal substances which damage the gut wall, and then you're eating mono foods, and then people might have a histamine reaction in the form of a heart palpitation. But there's another way, and that's through hypothyroidism, typically, and people develop easily on a carnivore diet hypothyroidism.
4 years, very low carb, heavy meat consumption. Here's what I don't do. I don't intermittent fast. I've heard that intermittent fasting excessively, even if it's 22-2 or 16-8, I just eat when I'm hungry. I have heard countless stories of people's thyroids shutting down because they're not eating in a proper they're not feeding their body right, in that they don't, sorry, I felt like a tickle, they don't feel like they're not getting enough. And if you're finding you're really, really hungry throughout the day and you're fasting, you're doing the 16-8s or whatever, even those, I don't know. I don't know. I have my issues with that. I feel like that could cause some hypothyroidism. I don't have that. I've been carnivore a year now. And I eat fat too. That's the other thing. People don't eat enough fat. And I eat fat. I do. I include fat, and I will eat butter. I'm going to slap a big no on that one. You only develop hypothyroidism if you're not eating the right ratios, and if you're not eating the now what would it be? I gotta think here. I think if you're avoiding your hunger cues and it's painful hunger, like one of those, especially like if you really, really want to avoid your hunger and it's painful and you're doing everything in your power, I just take salt, I just take butter. I find if I do that, I get nauseated. So I think that waiting too long to eat has its problems. Don't let yourself get super duper hungry and then avoid the hunger despite how hungry you are. Okay, I would not recommend that at all. I don't know how I feel about this whole hypothyroid bull crap. I think it's a loadable. Unless, of course, you're eating next to no food each day and you are eating no fat. But we'll see what happens on my blood test. I'm gonna have an appointment, a kind of phone consult, coming Monday. So we'll see where my thyroid's at.
Because they're not eating enough fat, they're eating too much protein. Carnivore gurus are saying just eat until you feel full, just eat a bunch of meat, just weird things that don't make any sense because the individual might have issues with chronic dehydration and then trying to eat.
This is all in the beginning, moron. This is the dehydration and stuff. That's all in the beginning. Yes, I don't recommend eating low fat either, because I do feel like you could really mess your thyroid up that way. And if you have weight that you can't lose, I'm sorry, but I think you're messing your hormones up. And until you start upping your fat, you're not going to be able to lose the weight, because your hormones are saying, hey, we don't know what to do here, so we're just going to slow things down a little bit.
All that protein, or you might be having a histamine response, or you're eating too much protein and not enough fat, and your thyroid hormone tanks and you start to develop heart palpitations with a thyroid issue. And a lot of people will ride the line of a thyroid issue and not even know it until they do a carnivore diet or keto diet, and they're fasting and they're just eating 2 meals and they're not eating enough fat and they're eating too much protein, and boof goes the thyroid, and now their heart palpitations that may have not been noticeable before go berserko. So it's thyroid issues, it's histamine.
Thing is, if I had a thyroid issue, I'd be tired all the time, I'm pretty sure. Pretty dang sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't have that anymore. And you need to eat the livers. Yeah.
And low potassium or low water or just dehydration while trying to do carnivore or ketogenic diets. Watch that heart. Watch that heart. There's a lot of people.
You're talking to beginners, clearly. Okay? Once you get over that hump, you're fine. All you need to do, electrolytes and salt. And if you have an actual heart condition, consult your doctor if within about, I don't know, a month, you still don't feel like your heart is working right, and you're over the worst of the carnivore keto flu and stuff like that, go see your doctor. Go see your doctor. I'm sure he or she can help you with that and get you on the right path, okay? But don't be doing this bull about like, oh, you're chronically dehydrated and blah, blah, blah. And you need to drink a whole bunch of water. Maybe in the beginning. How many times do I have to repeat that?
Over time, if they're chronically dehydrated, you start to have health issues, like major health issues. And a heart palpitation.
Is this some kind of projection? Is this projection here that I'm not aware of? Is she having these problems right now? This is all she talks about now. I mean, it's been a month since she uploaded this, but this is all she talks about now. She's in love with the carnivore diet. She wishes she could have, she wishes she could do the carnivore diet, but if she did that, oh, she'd lose her precious subscribers, wouldn't she? She probably would, because I'm sure her subscribers love her, because I'm pretty sure she's like very, 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 she's more plant central than you think. I bet you she doesn't even eat a lot of meat off camera. I bet you when she's off camera, she's eating veggies up the yin yang, and then she wonders why she's having problems.
Low potassium is the first warning. You best put it together. You better organize something, get a consultation with Stephanie, learn more about your
true narcissism. Get a consultation with me. Not see your doctor. You can consult Dr. Barry. You can consult me afterwards. You can consult whoever. No, it's just consult with you. Consult with Stephanie. It's just you. And you wonder why I called you a narc. And yes, no, I don't care if I'm blocked on your channel. I don't care. Less narcs in my life.
Existing health. Don't forget to know the difference if you do have low potassium, to not do potassium chlorides, which tend to be in the keto chow and the element, these cheap electrolyte products, because they're
cheap. Holy crap. Keto chow is expensive, y'all. Holy crap. No, they're not cheap. I didn't see them very cheap. They're too expensive for me. I'm out. I just did a sea salt. That was it.
using chlorides, which are damaging to the kidneys. We don't want that. We want to try.
Chloride is an electrolyte, dipstick. What? What? Do you mean fluoride? Or are you saying chloride purposefully? What? my God.
First to get our potassium from food. And if you're having a histamine reaction to, let's say, avocado, then you might want to do and you have to try different kinds, right? Potassium citrate is the safest one. Then there's potassium bicarbonate and glycinate.
You can't talk. Wait. Potassium glycinate? You sound like you're talking about magnesium. And by the way, I don't think bicarbonate is right for anyone. It seems like if it has bicarbonate in the name, you don't want to consume it. Yeah.
Gluconate, and everyone reacts to them differently if you have to go the supplemental route. Also with the magnesium, it's also very important to make sure that you are getting enough magnesium, basically all the electrolytes. But the main reason is due to chronic dehydration, a loss of water, and low potassium, which you lose when you're not drinking enough water or minding your
exhausting,
intake of potassium,
woman.
Either through food or through supplementation. There are things like there's potassium in pork, there's potassium in meat. It tends not to be enough. You have to eat a lot of protein to get to the potassium.
Eat the freaking liver. And Bart wonders why people aren't sleeping when they eat liver. Bart, it's because liver gives you boundless energy. It actually replenishes you and wakes you up. It's like the hit of coffee that you never actually took. When I eat liver, I feel like I've taken a hit of meth sometimes. That's a good thing. These people, they don't even talk about liver. I'm sick and tired of people demonizing liver when I've never heard a case of poisoning from ruminant liver. The only time I've heard of problems eating liver is if you eat a carnivore's liver. That's the only time I've ever heard of poisoning from liver. Shut up. You know nothing, Stephanie. Clearly. That's what Bart and I will both agree on. You don't know what you're talking about because you just your way through everything. The difference with me is I struggle to find the right words to add into what I'm saying. Whereas you know that you're not making sense. I can tell by your tone too. You don't sound very confident in what you're saying. I can't listen to people who don't speak with confidence. And when I'm not confident in something, I will say, I don't know. I could be wrong about this. I could be wrong about that. You don't say that, do you? You think you know everything. That's the problem with you, and that's the only problem I have with both you and Bart, is you both think that you're right and that the rest of us are wrong. And I don't care where Bart got his education from. I don't care what he studied. There is no issue with liver. I'm not seeing one. I haven't found one. I haven't experienced one. In fact, I slept a whole lot there for a while. I think I needed it. I feel like back then my sleep was actually hindered because I wasn't eating enough nutrition, and therefore my sleep quality was not as good. I don't know how much longer I can listen to this.
So sometimes people make a meat broth, not a bone broth, but a meat broth. There's potassium in oysters.
Bone broth would be better, just so you know. Use the bones, dipstick.
There's potassium in fish and in fish eggs and things of this nature. Drink 2 liters of water, 2 to 3, depends on how active or how.
Drink your whole blood supply worth of water. Beautiful. Fill yourself up with deuterium and dehydrate you even more. Beautiful. And then you have to come back to Narc Stephanie for advice. I'm doing what you say and I'm still dehydrated. I bet you Bart gets those same complaints. I'm doing exactly what you told me to do. I don't eat liver anymore and I eat fatty meat and that's it. Fatty beef and salt and water and I feel like crap.
Tall you are, there are so many things to consider, like high histamine foods and making sure your
Okay,
electrolytes.
I think I'm done here. She's just repeating herself now at this point. So, I'm done. I'm done. I can't listen to her keep repeating herself. She doesn't know anything. So that's it for this. I hope you like at least my thoughts on this, or agreed with some of it at least, if not all of it. Please, subscribe if you want to, like if you want to, don't subscribe if you don't want to. And by the way, leave a comment, hateful or not. It's going to ramp up the engagement for my channel. So if you don't want my channel going crazy, then don't comment. I'm not saying that because I'm being mean or don't want you commenting. I just don't want you commenting if you really think my channel is that bad, okay? So, yeah. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.